Greetings and welcome to Season 2 of the Spiritual Awareness Journey Programme, a virtual spiritual talk programme where the practical application of all things spiritual in our daily living is shared and discussed by experienced speakers from all walks of life, as well as our special guests who are realised souls called Mahatmas. This programme is brought to you by the Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I am your host, Darshana Dodia, and we are delighted to welcome you from all around the world to spend this precious moment with us as we address episode 17's topic, Breath, Life's Elixir. As we are taking birth, we experience the most important part of the whole process, the breathing in of that first breath, our first inhale. And as we exhale, life begins. The automatic coming and going flow of breath at a constant commences, giving us life, sustaining us, activating our whole being. This common process does not only take place within us humans, but is the sustaining process for each living being here on Earth. It is in fact the most important activity taking place in our life. If there is no breath, there is no life. We each are receiving this living breath at this very moment, empowering our whole being, keeping us to stay conscious, granting us our life experiences in this existence. So, are we aware of it? We have grown from that baby into who we are now. And this has only been possible by the incredible power that is hidden within each living breath, that is maintaining all living beings alike. But unlike all beings, only we humans can tap into the hidden energy that is within each breath, and that has the potential to connect us not only to the mundane, thus our daily living, but also to the spiritual aspect of life. Indeed, this breath is the means to our true self. And today, our experienced panel, Dr. Rajinder Prasad from the USA, and our special guest speaker, Mahatma Dharrne Bai, will elaborate on both the physical and the paraphysical aspects of this most valuable and essential gift, our breath. We have heard about the mystery of the breath from the monks and yogis practicing pranayama, the art of conscious breathing. And now even science is on board with this phenomena, sharing about the most advanced experiments on the healing powers and potentialities that lie hidden in the practice of deep breathing. And it is only we, spiritual beings, in this human existence that have the ability to achieve a high conscious state through profound concentration in our breath and commune with our original spiritual source, the divine within. We hope our speakers will inspire you to inquire about this spiritual knowledge, the elixir, nourishing us as the spiritual being within, and become curious to learn about the hidden powers within each breath, to so forge a true connection with our own spirit, our soul, and start our own practical spiritual awareness journey. And together, as this one race, this human race, being well nourished by this pure life energy, attain our true goal, enlightenment, and create a spiritual enlightened world where peace, joy, contentment and bliss will reign. As we start today's program, I'm delighted to announce a slight change in our format. If time permits, we'll open up the platform for a short question and answer session at the end of the presentations of our two speakers. You, the audience, will have the opportunity to ask questions which you can send into the chat box, which will be open once the speakers have completed their presentations. We look forward to hearing from you. Starting the Spiritual Awareness Programme today is our first speaker, Dr. Rajinder Prasad. Dr. Rajinder Prasad has been practicing medicine and cardiology for the past 21 years in the USA and has been a disciple of Sri Maharaji for the last 35 years. It is a great opportunity to hear from him about his life experiences and perspective on this topic. So without further delay, here now is Dr. Rajinder Prasad.
Bando Gurupad Kan Kripa Sindhu Narupa रूप हरि महामोहतम पुन जासु वचन रवि कर. Good morning, dear respected Mahatmas and Baiji, and all God-loving brothers and sisters. It's my honor and privilege to get a chance to share my thoughts with all of you today. I've been given a task to talk about breath. And when I started thinking about it, what could say about breath, I realized that last 25 years of my medical practice circled around the breath. So in simple terms, breath sustains life. Life does not exist without breath in both physical and spiritual world. But I guess no one need to be told about that. If we stop breathing, we don't live. So what are we focusing about? Since I'm just a student of spirituality, I will focus more on a scientific nature of the breath and try connecting it with spirituality. Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji is a very esteemed speaker, and she will delve more into spiritual and yogic meaning of the breath. Of course, if there are any questions, we'll be happy to take them at the end of the program. In medical terminology, we breathe around 12 to 15 times a minute, which amounts to 21,600 times in a day. And if you know that to travel around the earth at the equator, it's around 21,600 miles, nautical miles. So our breath is also connected with circles of the planet. The cycles of the planet, whether it is moon, whether it is earth, we are all connected with this important part of our life, which is breath. So controlling and merging into your breath is the key. Now, the most important question people ask me in my practice, and when they come, in America, we are used to call wellness visit. What is a wellness visit is yearly patient comes to the clinic and we check their vitals, check their cholesterol level, regular checkup, and tell them how well they are and what they need to do. But wellness is a dynamic process. It's not a static one-day visit to the doctor. Wellness cannot be achieved without knowing about your breath, because the breath is what sustains life. And for well to be in life, you have to know your breath. Many times we talk to patients, and their main question to me is, how can you still the mind? How can you feel good about what you are doing at present time? So stillness of the mind can only be achieved by controlling your breath. There's no ifs and buts about it. People have done a lot of research. Sometimes in scientific terms, we use respiration as the flow of breath. In yogic terms, it is said that if you control your breath, like I mentioned before, our breath, we take 12 to 15 times in a minute. If you control your breath below 6 minutes, you can get in tune with inanimate objects also. And you can tune into their frequency as well as their vibration. So to be well, you have to achieve, first goal is to understand your breath and to control it. So what are we talking about scientifically? What breath means? Breath is just not a respiration. Our all body is dependent upon two most important things. One is your oxygen intake, and second is your use of energy in the body to keep you alive. So when you take a breath, remember that you are connecting both physical and metaphysical level. Now, I will just go into some basic science which will help you to understand how important it is. There are two types of respiration in our body. One is called aerobic respiration and another is called anaerobic respiration. Now, aerobic respiration means that when you take a deep breath, oxygen is used. That oxygen combines with glucose, and each cell of the body has an ability to produce energy. That is called aerobic respiration. The other part of the respiration is called anaerobic respiration, which is done without the oxygen, when the cells try to generate energy without use of the oxygen. So this aerobic respiration is more efficient and the best way. And that's where our MC Darshana mentioned that deep breathing comes into the role. So when people say you should not have negative energy, you should not, or this person has positive energy, I'm going to tell you in a scientific way, what does it mean? In medical terminology, if you are doing aerobic respiration, you are generating less toxic material in your body. You are generating for the same molecule of glucose, more energy and more efficient way. Energy particle in our body is called ATP. ATP stands for an enzyme, and that enzyme is the key source of energy in our body. Every cell needs it. Without ATP, we cannot survive. So how does ATP is generated is through an anaerobic respiration or anaerobic respiration. Now, aerobic respiration, which I'm talking about, is what all our sages, our yogis have emphasized, that you go into deep breathing. The oxygen that you inhale is what creates an environment into every cell of your body, and that gives you energy. So why do we call it a positive energy? That's another important thing. A simple mechanism where energy is produced in our body by aerobic respiration is one molecule can produce 32 ATPs. But if it's anaerobic, then it depends upon the cell where it is located. It can be 2 ATPs to 32. So can you imagine that for the same amount of oxygen, same amount of nutrition in your body, you are having a positive energy or you are having a negative energy? Now it is dependent upon how you control your breath that leads to positivity or negativity. So when people say, oh, you are a positive energy, the reason why the people have a positive energy is because they have a control over their breath. And when they're breathing at a certain rate, they can go to highest level of positivity. Means most of the cell are in aerobic respiration rather than anaerobic respiration. So that's a more scientific, more what I call it cellular level of the aspect of this energy and breath. So when somebody says your positive energy, control your breath, and you will be realized that how positive energy can flourish further. Second thing which I always ask people, and they get questioned to me, they have questions to other also, that what happens in the states of anxiety, anger. And if you realize that when you're anxious, when you're angry, when you are upset, your respiratory rate goes faster. Respiratory rate goes faster, that in turn takes the heart rate goes faster. And why does that happen? So it's a shallow breathing. You're trying to, because your anxiety, you're trying to breathe faster. If at that time you have a knowledge to merge into your breath, to control your breath, your anxiety will improve and your anxiety will totally disappear. And that's what yogis and Mahatmas have been telling us, how to tap into that breathing cycle. So most of the day-to-day phenomena where we are working, where we are at home, if you get to that point where you start having shallow breathing, you are going into anaerobic respiration, which I talked to you about before, which produces less energy, and we are in turn going into what we call a negative energy phase. And that is not good for the human body, that is not good for the heart, that is not good for the any immunity. And talking about immunity, especially in the days of pandemic nowadays, there is a big phrase everywhere that, oh, we should improve our immunity. We should get better at our. So what are we talking about? What is immunity? So there are two types of immunity we need to worry about from spiritual aspect. One is physical immunity, and second is emotional immunity. Physical immunity, how do you achieve it? Is you eating well, number one, taking vitamins, which most of people do, and regular exercise. Emotional immunity is what we are doing right now. A spiritual discourses, you attend regularly, you talk to like-minded people, and you hear the words of wisdom from whatever faith you are, so that emotionally you become stronger and immunity improves. But remember that all immunities are tied with breathing correctly. There is no improvement in your immunity if your breathing process is not correct. Again, I'm not going to go in yogic breathing practices because that's Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji's excellence in that, but I will focus more on what is the medical usage and terminology which is helpful. There has been, so talking about physical immunity, exercising, we all know, yoga exercises, whether it is a dynamic exercises, you are doing it, you should continue doing. Eating well, very, very important. Now there is a big movement towards plant-based diet. And there has been a research at Harvard done recently where it showed that people who do plant-based diet, they have higher strength, more strength to fight against the virus. They have, because it's a, what we call it a observational study, you cannot put cause and effect, but the most important thing you can take out from that study, I will give you a gist of it, is if you are using plant-based diet, you have better immunity to fight against the virus and less chances of having viral infection. Or even if you have viral infection, less chances of having complication. So plant-based diet, I mean, it's a big thing in US, and I'm getting, Eastern world already knows about it. The Western world has to learn. In America, it's like right now, in money terms, it's a $7 billion industry. It is speculated that it will be $160 billion industries next 7 years. So by 2020, this is 2021, by 2030, in 9 years, this will be everywhere present. So for us and for anybody who's thinking about it, it is the right thing to do. Beside that, the plant-based diet always helps in reduction of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and of course, your own well-being. And they all lead to, again, aerobic breathing. They all lead us more towards spirituality. So what is the most important part that from scientific literature we can take that helps us to do meditation? So number one, breathing correctly, learning how to breathe correctly, controlling over your breath, that leads to controlling your immunity and controlling your mind. So whole scientific literature is based on cardiovascular phenomena of the body, and that is based on our respiration. So most important thing you want to do is, if you are having any kind of a disease process, which is dis-ease, you're above from ease. It doesn't have to be big cancer, even just a viral infection, just a fever, anxiety. You want to take a moment, go back to your breath, control the rate, which in turn will take you to aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means better energy state, stronger immunity. So my emphasis again is learn how to control your breath so that you can achieve all the medical and spiritual benefits. Practice, learn, and practice more meditation. In the word of late Shri Mahatma Fakiranandji, which has been a blessing to all of us, he used to say, our spiritual master has given us the knowledge of meditation, which Parya Vidya or Raj Yoga, to help achieve that dynamic wellness. That dynamic wellness through the breath can never be achieved in the doctor's office in one-day wellness visit. It can only be achieved by a dynamic process. So at this day and age, meditation, learning, and controlling your breath is not an option anymore. If you want to survive, you want to live well, and you want to do well, whether it is with your family, whether it is in community, as a country, or as a universe, you will have to go back to the basic practice of learning and controlling your breath, and that can only come from spiritual master. So I'm happy to take any questions, but thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk about it. Jesse says.
Thank you very much to Dr. Rajinder Prasad for that inspirational message there. I think everyone here has probably taken away something to think about, and like we say, that there is opportunities for questions at the end of this program. I really found it fascinating, really interesting, the way you described how you have the different types of respiration and how you can, by just merging with your breath, as you say, alter your state of anxiety, or try and rid yourself of those sorts of emotions and those negative emotions. So it's such an important thing that we think about, as you say, dynamic wellness. So thank you so much. That was really inspirational. And now, as we move on through the program, the Spiritual Awareness Journey is honoured to present to you our special guest speaker of the day, Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji. Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji is a realised soul, an enlightened saint from Haridwar in India. She is a disciple of Sri Satpal Ji Maharaj, spiritual head of Manav Dharam organisation. She has successfully provided spiritual enlightenment for the past 2 decades in various parts of India, Australia, Canada, UK, Europe, Fiji, and presently in Mauritius. She is also a doctor of Ayurveda and continues to help people both spiritually and physically. Her mission is to uplift the soul of man by rendering spiritual discourses on the essence of all scriptures and teaching yoga and meditation to the aspirants. It is a privilege to be in the presence of Mahatma Dharrne Bai, and Baiji will share with us her deep and personal spiritual understanding and experiences of this vital topic, breath, life's elixir. Here now, Mahatma Dharrne Bai.
Greetings to one and all. Thank you, Darshana, for the introduction. Thank you, Dr. Raj, for inspiring speech. Now, I will start with a quote. The breath that you took, that is a gift. Remember to breathe. It is, after all, the secret of life. The soul lives there in the silence of breath. Rumi. I would like to share my understanding on breath, life's elixir. What is life? The period of existence. Life is the period of time given to us to stay on this earth planet. And this time period, life starts from the first breath we take in, and life ends with the last breath out. God made man from the dust of the ground. He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living being. In this context, breathing is not just to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Breath is the spark of God which is present in everyone. Breath is the bridge between physical body and the true self. Breath synchronizes body, mind, and senses. Breath connects us to the divine. In reality, breath is the proof of our life. Breathing is more than a simple physical activity. Breathing affects the entire mechanism of the body. There are different kinds of breathing, namely normal breathing, deep and slow breathing, and fast breathing, and belly breathing, and alternate nostril breathing, and changing the ratio of inhale and exhale. Breathing through single specific nostrils has a different impact on each human system. The nostrils are said to represent the subtle energy channels called nadis. The right nostril corresponds to Pingla Nadi or Surya Nadi, which increase the heat in the body. The left nostril corresponds to Ida Nadi or Chandra Nadi, which brings coolness in the body. When we breathe through the right nostril, physical forces are stronger and the mental aspects are weak. And when the breath flows through the left nostril, mental energy is predominant and physical energy is weak. When we breathe through both nostrils together, we are on the journey to the higher state of consciousness. Research shows that we can calm down our mind just by changing the ratio of inhale to exhale. When we inhale, our heart rate speeds up, and when we exhale, the heart rates slow down. If you inhale for a count of 10 and exhale for a count of 20 just for a few minutes, it starts to calm your nervous system. Different pattern of breathing affects the entire body's mechanism. Yogi found that breath and mind move together. As much mind is restless and wandering, this much our breath becomes irregular. Moreover, research shows that different emotions are associated with different patterns of breathing. So we can change our emotions and feeling just by changing our breath pattern. Say for example, when we are joyful, our breathing becomes regular, deep and slow. If we are anxious or angry, our breath will become irregular and fast. If we follow the breathing pattern associated with different emotions, we will actually begin to feel corresponding emotions. The movement of mind can be controlled by manipulation of breath. I would like to share one of my experience on the miracle of breath. Once, I visited a family whom I used to visit frequently. I met everyone in the family except the daughter. When I asked about the daughter, the mother told me that she has come from work, so might be tired and having rest. When I went to see her in the room, she was very sad, and as soon as she saw me, she burst into tears. I pacified her and asked what is wrong. Then she told me that there is a lot challenges and pressure at work, and now I am not able to cope with it, and suicidal thoughts are coming into my mind. So I made her to sit for deep breathing meditation. After meditation, she was another person. There was no worries or stress on her face. Her face was glowing. She was energized. So, this is the miracle of breath. So, when we understand the science of breath, our life becomes easier. We will be able to control our mind and the emotions. By controlling our breath and emotions, we can improve our health. Not only that, but we can sharpen our intellect. We can also manifest our hidden true potentials. Breath connects us with God. Breath is not a mere process of inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. Once a communist asked my spiritual master, I understood your spiritual discourse, but cannot grasp the talk about God because I don't believe in God. Then my master asked him, do you believe in yourself? That you are existing? He said, yes, of course. Then he said, no, I don't exist. Then my master replied, okay, and asked him to simply close the nostrils and the mouth. After a moment, he said, I am suffocating. I need to breathe. My master said, without the process of inhale and exhale, your existence will cease. The breath is the fundamental of existence of life, and that's why it is said that breath is life. It is said that a man breathes on an average 15 times per minute and 21,600 times per day. As per Vedic calculation of a rate 15 breaths per minute, man should live up to 100 years. In the modern age, breath rate is 18 per minute. The elephant, tortoise, and other animals are known for their longevity and have a respiratory rate which is less than that of man's. The tortoise may attain the age of 300 years by breathing only 4 times per minute. The secret of the tortoise's long life is its breathing rate. As we breathe at a low rate, this much longer we will live. It is said that besides illness, intensified breathing in anger, desire, and excitement shortens life, while calm and slow breathing lengthen life. So the secret of long life is hidden in the breath. In Ken Upanishad, it is explained that spirituality means to still the restless mind in the holy name with the breath and meditate with single-mindedly. The knowledge of God, following the spiritual path, remembering the holy name, and regular meditation are necessary. I would like to share the life of a great sage, Valmiki, whose life is an evidence to the miracle of remembering holy name with the breath. Valmiki Rishi's previous name was Ratnakar. He got lost from his father, Prachitas, and was then brought up by a hunter. He was married in a hunter family. For livelihood, from hunter he turned into a dacoit and had been robbing and looting the travelers who passed by his area. One day, Naradji was passing by the forest where Ratnakar lived. Ratnakar attacked Naradji to rob him. However, Naradji remained unfazed. This surprised Ratnakar. Naradji questioned Ratnakar as to why he is committing the sin of robbing others. He replied, "To feed my family." To this, Naradji said, "Go and ask your family if they will also share the sin you are committing to take care of them." When Ratnakar went to ask his family and no one was ready or willing to share the burden of his sins. Heartbroken at this family response, Ratnakar asked Naradji to show him the path of righteousness. Naradji imparted the spiritual knowledge and showed him to remember the holy name with the help of breath. Ratnakar sat for meditation for years and ants built ant hill around his body. Lord Brahma blessed him by giving him the name Valmiki. In Sanskrit, ant hill is called Valmik. Valmiki ji composed the Ramayana, the life of Lord Rama. Valmiki's story is one of the inner transformation, the journey from being a decade to becoming a Brahmarishi, a great sage, is a testament to the miraculous power of breath. Breath is an axle of life on which physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being of human being is dependent. Breath is an internal alchemy not only to prolong life, but it is the philosopher's stone to turn the human into a superhuman. Breath is an elixir. It is a gift from God to become godlike. I will conclude my speech with a poem from anonymous poet. Just breathe. When you feel hopeless and overwhelmed, just breathe. When times are tough and you cannot get up, just breathe. When you feel with doubts and fears, just breathe. Remember that God is near. He can bring you back from any abyss. When you are overwhelmed with joy, just breathe. When things are going your way, just breathe. When you are filled with relief, just breathe. Remember that God is in control. He has got you no matter what. All you need to do is just breathe. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji for your inspiring words. I'm sure everyone here has taken away something from her message. I particularly liked the story about Valmiki and how it shows that breath has that ability to transform someone from a great sinner to a great saint. Such a beautiful poem there to conclude. So thank you so much to Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji. We are now at the question and answer session of this program. The chat box should be fully open, and we have already received some questions via email for Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji. But feel free to type in your questions into the chat box for Dr. Prasad, and we will hope to get them answered later on. So for the first question we have for Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji, please can you guide us on how we can use our breath in our daily life?
Yes, first we have to make it a habit that as soon as we wake up, do deep and slow breathing practice. If you have time, you can do pranayam as well. A few things that you can keep in mind that when you are doing mental work, that time take breath through Chandranadi or left nostrils, or when Chandranadi or left nostril is active, at that time perform mental work. In the same way, when you perform physical work, at that time take breathe through right nostril or Surya Nadi, or when Surya Nadi is active, do physical work. And at night, before going to bed, you can do pranayam or you can practice deep breathing as well.
Thank you, Baiji. It's just so fascinating that one nostril has that impact. Breathing from one nostril has an impact, and breathing from the other nostril has an impact on our physical and mental abilities. Thank you very much for that explanation. And we have one further question for you. As you mentioned in your speech, that breathing meditation can change our thought pattern. What is this breathing meditation?
This is the meditation which is related with breathing. Normally, we practice meditation for concentration of mind, and for that we connect with breath. But under the guidance of the spiritual master, we can experience the primordial or cosmic sound within the breath. To connect our mind into the primordial vibration is breathing meditation. When we talk about the sound, we are talking about the very subtle vibration which resonates in breath, and it is a vital aspect of breath.
Thank you to Mahatma Dharrne Bai ji for that informative and practical answer to those questions. As we mentioned, the platform is open for anyone in the audience that is wishing to ask any questions. Please feel free to type your message into the chat box for Dr. Rajinder Prasad to answer. I'll just give everyone a minute or so to type in their questions. We have a question in the chat box. It says, I am a software engineer by profession, but when I'm at work, I forget everything. Just work is there on my mind. How can I work on my breath in such an aspect? I'm hoping, Dr. Prasad, you can shed some light and answer this question for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahatma Bai ji, for your very kind and very thoughtful explanation of spiritual and yogic meaning of breath. As far as the question is concerned, the work is where we are most of our day. And as you can very well imagine, where all energy is used up in the work. What I tell my colleagues and my patients, as well as this question, is same, that you are working, but your breath is going on simultaneously. You do not, because it's an involuntary phenomena, you do not remember to take breath. It goes on. What you have to do is consciously make an effort, and it's an exercise, it's a practice, consciously make an effort to move into your breath. And that comes with the little bit of a practice. But what I have seen is that in between, and you can probably relate to your computer or IT work as well, in between patients, in between certain phases of the work, you can devote 1 minute of your thought process and connect it with your breath and do deep breathing exercise or deep breathing activity. I'm very sure that you and me, we are in a high profession zone. We can connect for 1 minute, and that connecting for 1 minute, and after that carrying on work, it automatically, as an involuntary phenomena, we can breathe, continue to breathe. The connection continues to be with the breath. So it's just an effort. It can be at the time of distress also, but at the time of ease and comfort also. So you do not stop working, but be aware of the breath, and that helps in the work as well. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that answer. Yes, very practical advice, and I'm sure that has answered the question from the audience. And we have now run out of time, so thank you very much for all the questions we've had in. Thank you very much to both our speakers for their inspirational presentations. I would like to remind everyone here today that you can view our previous spiritual awareness journey episodes on our Manav Dharam YouTube channel, where you can enjoy other topics such as spirituality and wellness, spirituality and nutrition, and many others sharing about the aspects of practical spiritual knowledge. I wish to thank each and every one of you for your presence here on this Spiritual Talk platform today. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Feel free to drop us a note with your comments, or if you have any other questions that we haven't been able to address to our guests, please email us at spiritualawarenessjourney@gmail.com. The email address should now be in the chat box. Our next Spiritual Awareness Journey program will be held on Saturday, October the 30th. It is episode 18 on the topic of consciousness. We hope today's episode has brought you some deeper insight on the importance of our life breath. A big thank you to our speakers, Dr. Prasad and Mahatma Dharrne Bai, and thank you all once again for joining today. Thank you to our sponsor, Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I'm your host, Darshna Dolia, and from all of us on the Spiritual Awareness Journey, wishing you a healthy, vital, and peaceful journey. See you soon.